Hey, it's me, Luke Bogacki, here to demonstrate some of the features of the AirTek pressure monitoring system. I want to start off by addressing what I'd say is the most common question that I get about the AirTek system. I have fellow racers ask all the time, Luke, why should I spend $345 or more on a tire gauge? It's a fair question because it's a significant investment, but my answer is really simple. You get what you pay for. Look, I've been making a living driving sportsman race cars for over a decade, and I think we can all attest to the idea that fortunes can be made and lost in our sport based on rounds that are routinely decided by a thousandth of a second or less. So in my situation, I'm looking for every advantage that I can possibly get, however minute it may seem. Over the years, I've watched dozens of racers spend thousands of dollars on new tires, new shocks, completely revamping the chassis setup, only to find out after the fact that a faulty tire gauge had them chasing their tail all along. Just a couple weeks ago, I had a racer approach me in the staging lanes with two identical gauges from a competing manufacturer. These two identical gauges measured over 1.5 pounds different. 1.5 pounds! In our world of sportsman racing and parity, that's just not acceptable. For me, the answer is the AirTek system. Developed by Norm Franks and the folks at Product Development Group, the AirTek system is extremely accurate and really easy to use. I've been using it exclusively for about 2 years now, but I still get some odd looks in the staging lanes, and I have a lot of people asking questions about the product. So as a result, thanks to the folks at Product Development Group, we were able to put together this brief video to illustrate some of the features of the product and explain exactly how it works. The AirTek DRP1 digital tire gauge provides a readout to 1/100th of a pound and features accuracy within just 0.5%. If you want to be even more precise, you can go to the DRP2, which uses the same AirTek housing with the C-Comp gauge, the industry standard. The beauty of the AirTek system is that it can be used with any gauge, including your current one, assuming it uses a standard 1/4-inch pipe fitting. One of the cool features of the AirTek system is this locking fitting at the wheel. It's a sealed plug-in fitting that allows you, the racer, to plug the gauge into your wheel. You don't have to worry about holding a typical air chuck straight to ensure an accurate reading, and if you're lazy, like me, you can adjust your air pressure while you stand up. The folks at AirTek offer a couple of options for the locking fitting. AirTek systems come complete with these screw-on fittings. They thread directly onto the existing valve stem with a jam nut. You can install them in a few seconds, and they'll work on virtually any wheel. AirTek also offers these bolt-in fittings that bolt directly into the wheel, eliminating the typical valve stem and Schrader valve completely. The advantage to the bolt-in fitting is a lower profile and increased fill and bleed rate. With the typical setup, the limiting factor in terms of filling or bleeding off air isn't the quick disconnect assembly, and it isn't the AirTek manifold on the gauge. The limiting factor is actually the Schrader valve located within your valve stem. So with the complete AirTek setup, you can fill or bleed off air as quickly as you could with the conventional tire gauge. However, if you go ahead and make the switch over to the bolt-in fitting, it speeds both of those processes up significantly. The main feature of the AirTek system is this unique pistol grip manifold. I can hold the grip in one hand. With it, I can fill my tires with air by placing an air chuck onto the valve stem itself. I can also monitor my current air pressure by pressing the read button. And I can bleed air by pressing the bleed button here on the gauge itself. Air is bled through this adjustable orifice on the manifold itself. The complete AirTek system is incredibly easy to use and operate. I simply plug the gauge into my wheel, and I know immediately that I've got a good sealed fitting to get a consistent and reliable reading. I don't have to worry about having the valve stem in a specific position, holding the gauge a certain way, or ensuring that I get the chuck straight onto the valve stem. I simply plug it in. Then I can read, bleed, and fill my tires with air as necessary to reach my target air pressure. When I'm done, I simply press the release button and unplug the gauge. When I do so, there's no loss of air whatsoever, so I can go into each round confident that the reading on my gauge is an accurate depiction of the amount of air that's in the tires. That's it. The AirTek system is trick and it's accurate, but it's not complicated or difficult. To purchase yours, or if you have any questions about the product line, feel free to contact me directly. I'm an authorized PDG distributor, which means that we carry both AirTek products and FLO-FAST pumps. You can also purchase the AirTek line at Huntsville Engine and Performance, Champs Performance, and other fine retailers. To learn more, visit www.airtekpc.com.